Who are the Cielcin? What is this species assailing humanity? What do they worship? How do they travel the stars? Friends, let's find out, and welcome to a Sun Eater lore video, a limited series to the channel, focusing on some of the main players in the amazing books by Christopher Rocchio. The other two I have in mind for those that care are the Extrasolarians and the Quiet and the Strangers, and I'll give thoughts on this series generally at the end of the video. General spoilers for the series from here. The Cielcin, or the Pale as humanity call them, are enemies of the Celin Empire. They are a space-faring alien species, humanoid and carnivorous, the principal enemy of humankind during the Crusade, that's the Imperial war against the Xenos. They travel the stars in world ships, some of which are as large as moons. These type of ships make up the core to their fleet. They also have shuttles that can be dark and be scarab-like things, large as a city bus. It gives off no thermals, and it can also not be found by radar, so pretty stealthy. Some sort of cloaking field would be in place. Now the Cielcin think little of humanity. They are just cattle for them to feed on. Their word for humanity translates as vermin. Now the Cielcin have the position, status, you could also call it, of being the first spacefaring species humanity met as they reached out into the stars. They are a tall, white-skinned race with solid black eyes, and they have crests that rise above and back from their foreheads. Some say they look like devils. When they do invade, it's to burn the planet and take the humans there as livestock. They do this in the millions. Amongst those you might face in battle are berserkers who charge the enemy and rampage until they are simply gunned down, lashing out, whilst they live with their ceramic swords and strong bodies. Simply a kick can knock out a human, even with humanity's ceramic steel composite armour. And the Cielcin nervous system also makes them immune to humanity's disruptor weapons, so they're pretty tough when facing the members of the Celin Empire. The Cielcin worship a species called the Watchers, and were first brought alive in ruins built by them. Some of these ruins still decorate planets within the human Celin Empire. Perhaps due to their place of birth, the Cielcin keep the inside of their ships and vehicles dark. Now the species themselves, in terms of propagation, they are hermaphrodites, but they do not produce more of their species quickly. Where humans have to go into spaces when travelling along great journeys, the Cielcin continue to live, and they can live for hundreds of years, and so they can produce many warriors, swarms that can descend on planets when they arrive at a human settlement. They can also use humans as incubators for their species' young. When they're not using us for that reason, they can eat us instead. So if you get captured by one of these guys, you're in a pretty bad situation. When they do eat us, they will tear meat from the bone as quickly as possible. And nearby slaves may also go onto the menu. Another advantage the Cielcin have is that they have some technology better than humanity. They have antimatter reactors in their world ships, giving them faster speeds than the Empire, letting them stay ahead of the Celin fleets invading worlds before any of humanity can be arrived to rescue the settlers there. Now, in terms of who's in charge, they have a high ruler, but those who go to war are princes amongst them as well. Now, some princes can be in the position of being in servitude to others. A general term for the princes is Aeta, a Cielcin prince chieftain with ownership, rights over its subjects and their property. Each prince oversees a clan, and each have guards, generals and concubines beneath them. Now here are some quotes from the books to flesh out what I've told you so far. First we're going to look at humanity's impression of the Cielcin. Suddenly they, the implacable enemy of man, seemed very human to me indeed. The Cielcin had 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 sexes, however bound up one was in the other. They had a spoken language, wore clothes and armour, ate at tables, talked of honour and family. They had blood that moved through veins in shapes just like humanity's own. And their appearance, when they encountered humanity, the Cielcin had appeared from nowhere, materialising in the centre of that blank dark space, glittering in robes of silken fabric, sable and sapphire and white, every inch covered in circular glyphs that overlapped, interwove, linked. If you have never seen them, the Cielcin have crests that rise, like crowns above and back from their foreheads at a steep angle, the same white as their milk-pale flesh. Thus the name the Pale I mentioned earlier. They terminate just past the spots where their ear holes are, and the back halves of their skulls grow out thick white hair. In terms of the armour that the Cielcin wear, here's a little bit from the first book. Black blood, still warm and cloying, clung to the layers of cloth, insulation visible between the carbide armour plates. The technology on display in that suit really was ancient, centuries behind anything we had. That struck me as wrong. Surely any species so dependent upon star travel as the Cielcin would work harder at developing their suit technology. Now here is why humans believe the Cielcin are attacking them. The Cielcin have a culture based on plunder. That's why they're fighting us for resources. Before we came along, they had to parasitize their own fleets. It makes sense that they'd carry off any technology they could find, perhaps insinuating that some of the tech they use is taken from elsewhere. And here's how authority goes in the ranks of the Cielcin. These elites were gifted with all the Emperor's authority, the ability to act in his stead, in his absence, so titled that they were equal with the Emperor in authority, though they had none without him. They shared in the Imperial presence, spoke with its voice. Was this like that or something else? Perhaps it was like that, and so the Cielcin was the leader of this expedition, perhaps pilgrimage. And a few facts about the Cielcin in general, taken from the back of the first novel. Cresgard is the name of a lost Imperial colony in the Vale of Marinus, site of the first contact with the Cielcin and the Battle of Cresgard in ISD 15792. Now the Se Vatayu, that's how I'm going to say it, is the mythical homeworld of the Cielcin. Its surface is apparently honeycombed with labyrinth tunnels, like those at places around the Celin Empire. And that's where we wrap up the general lore on the Cielcin, a really interesting race in this book series. And so about the books, I only started reading them this year, after a channel called Mike's Book Reviews kept talking about how great they were, and so I dove in and I loved them, and I've continued to read them up until the most recent release. I think they are my favourite science fiction series to come out since The Expanse and Red Rising by Pierce Brown. The world has deep lore and world building, great action and mystery, and an intriguing main character. Right up my street. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to make some more soon on this subject. Drop me a comment down below if you've read the books, if you'd like to read the books, if you've got any questions and requests. I'll think about them. And just a late add of audio onto the video, just want to say, if you do find yourself intrigued by the idea of the books and the lore here, the dude does have a YouTube channel. If you type in Celin Empire, that should take you to it. He updates readers like myself, etc., pretty often on how the books are progressing, does live streams, answers Q&As, things like that. So he's pretty involved as a creator, so you can go there and check that out if you are intrigued. If you can't find it that way, the author's name is Christopher Ruocchio. Hard to spell, but that should hopefully take you to it if you are intrigued to follow up and get some more information on this series.